Okay, so today I'm going to cover what vegans can and can't eat, including some of the basics like meat, dairy, and eggs, but also some of those tricky ones like honey, gelatin, and oysters. Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome to Vegan Yak. I'm Walter, and if you're interested in getting info about going vegan, staying vegan, or successfully talking to people about being vegan, make sure that you subscribe so that way you can keep up with all my future content. Now let's talk about what vegans can and can't eat. If you're thinking about going vegan, but you're worried that you might run out of options, or you just don't know what to eat, you really don't have to be worried. Vegans are not limited in food options, especially in this day and age. But to get started, we should really start talking about what vegans can't eat. Vegans don't eat anything that is or comes from an animal. But what really classifies as an animal?
Well, according to the dictionary, animals are any of a kingdom Animalia of living things, including many-celled organisms and often many of the single-celled ones, such as protozoans, and having the capacity for spontaneous movement and rapid motor responses to stimulation.
No, not that complicated. We just try to avoid eating anything that is a sentient being and has the ability to feel pain and suffer.
Well, plants feel pain too, so
Well, actually, most of the scientific consensus here is that plants don't have a central nervous system or a brain, so they at least can't feel pain like we do and like animals do. I mean, I don't think that stabbing a carrot is the same thing as stabbing a dog.
Oh yeah, you wanna bet? Yeah.
I don't think YouTube's gonna censor that like they would if it's a puppy. But rest assured, even if you are worried about plant pain, plant suffering, and plant death, a vegan lifestyle and eating plant-based would still be better for you. We feed a lot of the crops and most of the plants on this planet that we grow to the animals that we want to eat. There's 70 billion animals that we're having to feed all of this food to. So in all reality, if everybody was plant-based, we would actually reduce a lot of the plant death and plant suffering. Okay, so that was quite a tangent. Let's get back to what vegans can't eat. And really, it's pretty simple. Because we don't eat anything that is or comes from animals, that means we don't eat meat that comes from animals like cows, pigs, chickens, or fish. That's right, vegans don't eat fish. If you're going vegan, be prepared to be asked, well, what about fish? Like a million times. But no, vegans don't eat fish because they're an animal and they can feel pain. And we don't eat anything that comes from an animal, so we don't eat any cheese, another common question, and we don't eat eggs, another common one. Okay, so now what about some of those complicated ones like honey, gelatin, and oysters? Well, a general answer for these is that no, vegans don't eat these things. Honey is made by bees for the bees. Gelatin is made from animal bones, so nope. And oysters? Well, there is some science that suggests that they are sentient and they feel pain. So personally, I give the benefit of the doubt and I just avoid them. There is some science though that suggests that they're not sentient. I just suggest that you do your own research and you make up your own mind here. I like to ask myself personally, is it something that I need to live off of? And also, are they sentient? But let me know in the comments below what you think about oysters based off of your research and choices. Are oysters a yes or a no? Okay, now there are some other micro ingredients that really can be hard to catch, but that aren't technically vegan. For instance, vitamin D is often in foods and drinks, and it's made a lot of the times from lanolin, which is made from sheep's wool, so not vegan. And I know personally a lot of vegans like myself that go hard on reading labels, and if I'm unsure about a product, I'll do a Google search, I'll use an app like Is It Vegan to check what the ingredients are before I make the decision to buy it. I also know a lot of vegans that are like, meh, I don't give a f about micro ingredients. And to each his own, I guess. Okay, and look, veganism's not about being perfect. Just do the best that you can. It's always my response when someone's like, well, I would be vegan, but I love oysters. Okay, well, why don't you take a look at what you can do and not at what you can't do? If you're okay with changing everything else to a vegan lifestyle, like avoiding circuses and zoos for entertainment, avoiding wearing animal skin for clothes like leather, avoiding cosmetics or other products that are tested on animals, and you can change to an entirely plant-based diet except for oysters, then okay, just start there. Like if you have a favorite dish for Christmas, your mom's ever popular Christmas oysters, and you don't think you can ever give those up, then okay, that's fine, but just don't let that hold you back from changing everything else. You wanting your mom's Christmas oysters one time a year is not a good justification for eating pigs, cows, and chickens 3 times a day and then planning a trip to see exploited animals at SeaWorld. So just take a look at what you can do, not at what you can't do, and just start there. So if so far this sounds really limiting, don't worry, there's still plenty of food that vegans can eat. In fact, there's over 80,000 edible plant species. So let's take a look at what vegans can eat in those food groups, including one surprising food group at the end of this list. But let's start with food group number 1, which is whole grains and grain products. Now, of course, you can have the whole grains like rice and quinoa and farro and those things, but you can also have grain products. You don't have to give up bread and pasta and tortillas and naan and muffins and bagels and everything else. You just have to find the vegan option of these things. Go check the label. The things that you're really looking out for here are usually milk, honey, and eggs. Now there's gonna be some bread products that do have those things that you'll want to avoid, but there are so many that don't, so finding an option here really shouldn't be difficult. Okay, the next food group is beans and legumes, and there are so many options here. You can have lentils, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, navy beans, garbanzo beans, edamame. There's a whole bunch of beans. And also don't forget bean products like tofu and tempeh and hummus. Who doesn't love hummus? And the next food group is nuts and seeds, which you know what that means. Peanut butter jelly! Okay, and next is fruits, which enough said because fruits are the best. Next food group is vegetables, so don't worry, you can still have beets. Okay, but in all seriousness, there are tons of vegetables that taste great, and of course they're healthy for you, so load up. And don't forget those starchy vegetables like potatoes. That's right, potatoes are a vegetable. And you know what that means? French fries! Okay, so a couple more food groups, the next one being mushrooms. No, not those mushrooms. I know that this can be hit and miss for some people. Some people hate mushrooms. I personally love mushrooms. I think they can add a really nice savory flavor and great textures to a lot of dishes. Okay, so if those food groups weren't enough, there's still one surprising one left, and that's vegan substitutes and vegan junk food. What? That's right, you can still pretty much have everything that you're used to having because there's vegan meats and milks and cheeses and eggs, and there's so many dishes that they can make, like vegan burgers and pizza and tacos and sushi and literally everything else that you can think of. And these are not your grandma's meatloaf. The options that you have nowadays are so good, and they're getting better and better to matching that exact same taste and texture. So you really don't have to sacrifice a lot of these options in order to be a vegan. Okay, so some of these products might not be the healthiest for you, but when compared to the animal versions of them, can oftentimes be healthier. But even with that, they should probably still be limited. I mean, the healthiest diet for us is comprised mostly of whole foods that are plants. And if you're worried about if you can be healthy on a vegan diet or a plant-based diet, you should go check out this other video that I made. I consulted 4 registered dietitians and had them give me feedback on vegan diets and health. And I also checked with all the major associations and what they had to say based on the research. So go check that video out if you're worried about if you can be healthy on a vegan diet. All right, there you have it. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite vegan food is. If it's an apple, great. If it's a Beyond Burger, fantastic. Just let me know what your favorite vegan food is. And hopefully you can see that if you're going vegan, you might initially think, oh, I've got to take out all of these things out of my diet and it's so restrictive, but they can easily be replaced with vegan options. And living a vegan lifestyle is really not that restrictive in this day and age, especially when it comes to food. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and make sure that you hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can keep up with future content. Also, check out one of these recommended videos so you can get your other questions about veganism answered. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? Oh yeah?